All right. Good morning. It is 6:15. Late. Well, for my standards. Anyways, yeah, I did get up this morning at 4:30, but I was also up at 3:30. I was also up at 1:30. Uh Someone was up walking around last night. Um the rest of my family's getting ready to go on vacation. I am not going. I'm going to be staying here working. Didn't really think it was appropriate to go on a vacation when I'm still trying to. The business is struggling, and um, I'm having I'm having marital problems, so not going. So, anyways, yeah. So between someone up, you know, walking around multiple times last night, it kept me up as well, and so I did get up. My alarm went off at 4:30, and yeah, I just was like not feeling it. So I ended up, and then I got back up at 5 or a little before, but then I was like, I'm not going to be able to have a productive day. I need at least 45 minutes more of sleep. So I went to back to sleep till 5:45. Anyway, so it's about 6:15, a little bit, 6:15, 6:20 ish, and yeah, getting ready to get my day going. So yesterday was a bit of a twist and turn day. Kind of realizing more and more about the whole marketing and sales aspect of things, and that's how important it is. uh, Never, as long as I've been alive and as long as I've been an entrepreneur, I've never thought about it. And I do, or looked into it, and I do realize now just how critical it is. Um, but yeah, yesterday, instead of spending time on Google Ads, learning it, I ended up um, made what I originally was supposed to be a TikTok, but then I realized, well, wait a minute, this can be more of an evergreen piece. It can, I have, and I can use it as an advertisement. I can boost it. Boosting a post is basically an advertisement. You do have a link, right? Um, so I ended up doing that. Kind of went down the rabbit hole. I'm looking over at my whiteboard over there. I ended up with 16 clips in a 1 minute segment, and it's a bit long, but that's okay. It tells a story. And yeah, so I had to go through all 16. So it took me like 3 or 4 hours to do it, and I did it all in CapCut, which is pretty impressive actually. But I had to find, I had um, I had the VR footage, then I had the real person in real life footage, and then I had the footage, and then I had footage from the video. So it was like basically, yeah, it's a lot of work to do that, and so that took up a lot of my time. And then last night I did another one. I had recorded a video a few months ago, back in February at some point, and I was kind of reviewing some of my older videos where I'm literally talking to the camera inside Key to Amaze, 20, 30-second videos. And one of them was like, yeah, I can just throw some music behind this one, um, raise up the volume, add a good, heading to it, and do a few things, and change it up and make it much more engaging. And that's what I did. So I spent another hour and a half or so doing that. But these are things that can be repurposed, and I can put them out there, and people can find out about us. So that's what I ended up doing. So that was a good 5 hours of my day yesterday, easily 5 hours. And then I did, so I got that stuff done. I had a call with the web developer Jill. That lasted a little less than an hour, about 45 minutes or so. That was good. So yeah, I noticed I'm saying a lot this morning. It's because I'm tired. So I got all that stuff done. I also read for a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and I also got a good workout in. I did those things, and I also focused on the putting out fires at Key to Amaze, as I say. Like responding to emails, making calls, looking, reviewing the schedule and the bookings, things like that. So yeah, did all those things, and also listened to a couple podcasts while I was working out and while I was doing some editing stuff. Because I didn't really the editing, was more about cutting, things like that. So I had some stuff, some podcasts going on in the background. So kind of interesting podcasts. They both kind of related to fourth dimensional thinking type deals. Like Quasi's was about letting go meditation, being grateful for things, and talking about things that are out of your control and letting go, things like that. And then someone else, I forget his name, but pretty forget his name, but it's pretty good. Anyways, I'll look it up on YouTube on my history. But yeah, he was talking about fourth dimension and fourth dimensional thinking, which is Neville Goddard's uh, big thing. So I'm gonna check the video, make sure it's rolling. Great, still rolling. Hopefully it stays that way. So yeah, that's Neville Goddard's thing, and how everything you can imagine is already here. It's just in that fourth dimension that um, we can't see it, we can't feel it, none of that stuff, which is kind of interesting because not yesterday, which was Monday, but Sunday, I actually kind of went down a not really a rabbit hole, but I was kind of going back and forth with GPT about tesseracts, and those are fourth dimensional objects, and what they look like coming in and out of 3D space, and envisioning them, things like that. So kind of interesting that I did that with GPT, and then this video pops up on my feed. And normally I wouldn't listen to a video like that while I'm working out, but for some reason it just kind of piqued my interest. So I was like, yeah, it's 32 minutes. I'll have pretty much most of my workout done by then. So let's see what it does. And I was gonna go to MMA last night, but Johnny isn't able to go on Monday nights because he has music. He's in a band, which is good. I'm glad because it keeps him engaged with his music. Um, but I just wasn't, I think I ate a little bit too close to the time that I would have been comfortable going to MMA. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to go with an overly full stomach, even though I ate at 5 o'clock. 2 hours later, I still felt like I'd eaten too much because that was kind of my big meal for the day. So, and it's a little bit hard because MMA is at 7:15, ends at 7:15 to 8:15. So it's like if I eat afterwards, it's really like even if I drink a shake, I don't like it because then I just I'm still digesting food when I go to bed at 10:30. So it's kind of a tough balance. But then if I eat before MMA, I have to eat really early, like 4 o'clock. I need a good 3 hours before I feel good again. But now I'm gonna go this morning, so that kind of solves that whole problem because it'll be a solid, it'll be a solid, 14 hours since I've had anything to eat, which is great. So yeah, and then I'm gonna start doing something tomorrow on these videos that I was gonna start today, but I didn't have time to write it down. So what I want to do is I'm gonna go through, and I am gonna start documenting my physical injuries, and I've had a lot, and it's gonna start from from my head, from my, from when I broke my neck, and even more. There's a lot more to that, but that's head and neck, and then all the way down to broken toes, things like that. And just kind of, I just want to document it. And so, yeah, anyone watching gets to be a part of that. So I'm going to go through kind of like, start head and neck, torso. I wouldn't have to write it all out because I'm going to do a quick backstory behind each thing, or, you know, so my head might take 6 or 7 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm just gonna talk, just ramble. But anyways, so that's what I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna go through that, and then I'm gonna go in and potentially talk about my childhood, things like that. Because yesterday, um, when I was going through my self mastery guide, which is something I try and read at least once a day, about envisioning my future, things like that, and actually looking at fourth dimensional thinking kind of helps me actually think about that and pivot towards that. But yeah, let me just make sure that this is rolling again. Still going. But yeah, choose your enemies wisely. It's about choosing your business enemies and personal enemies. And yesterday I was able to do that. Um, More effectively than I thought. It just kind of hit me. I had enemies picked out, but then I found a really powerful enemy, which is actually, they are, it was bullies from my childhood. Really, for whatever reason, it just hit me and dug deep. So that's where I went. and I'm hoping that between that and fourth dimensional thinking, I can push things further, faster. But yeah, that's kind of where things are at. And then other thing I was thinking about is someone was talking about, someone was talking about experiences and negativity or something like that, and I kind of thought about it, and I was like, failure. A lot of people talk about, like, I have this failure is not an option thing here, and this is from the Kennedy Space Center, when I was there. Um, and that was done when they were doing the Apollo missions, and they're trying to get the guys back from, the ones that they aborted and went around the moon. They made a whole movie about it, obviously, but yeah, they had to keep those guys alive so they could get back to Earth, and failure was not an option. And you know, I kind of think about it is there's never a failure. As long as you learn something, it's not a failure. As long as you learn and grow, it's not a failure. But so many people look at failure as failure, and I'm like, well, what is failure? Did you try? Did you try and you didn't get to exactly where you wanted to go? But at the same time, you learned, right? You might have learned a crap ton of stuff. You might have learned a shitload of things. Um, so how's that a failure? It's not, and it's just about reframing things and understanding what failure is and what it isn't. And I never, I always say, I mean, if you come out the other side and you're better for it, then you didn't fail. You learned, you grew, and you're on to the next thing, and you're going to do even better on the next thing. It's just like what I'm doing right now with my business, right? I went and I put all this effort and time into building a business. COVID hit, 2 years of kind of limbo. And then, the past couple of years have been, it's coming on, 2 years since we opened the doors. We right after the fourth. Um, and since COVID was over, and now I'm getting into understanding marketing and sales, and I've been doing that since I bought the book Sell Like Crazy. I've read a few books on that. I've read that book, and I read the marketing to the affluent book, and I've also looked at a lot of other things online. But you know, I don't consider this the time as lost time or wasted time or as being a failure. I'm learning, I'm growing, and that's what's important. And everything you do is a lesson, and it's a life lesson. And some people have a lot more life lessons, and some people have a lot less. But the more life lessons you have, the more you've lived. The more that's the important part. So today I have I am going to be working on I'm going to be working on a blog this morning, and then I'm also going to be working on I am going to be working on Google Ads, because I have now multiple videos that I feel comfortable putting out there, as well as more photos and things that I think will be a lot more fun and entertaining for the Google Ads, things like that. But I am going to boost some TikTok stuff. So I'm going to work on those things, and I'm going to look at Notion as well. So my day is kind of full with those sorts of things, and I might have to go into Ken more later today. I'm not really 100% sure. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so I'm going to get to my day. Hopefully you've been up and you're grinding and you're getting things done and you're making things happen so you can have um, the life that you are dreaming of. And it is there. It is just out of sight. It's completely out of sight. But till tomorrow, hopefully you're having a wonderful day. Take care. Peace out.